In this video, I want to share 8 simple tips you can use to reduce stress and anxiety that don't take more than about 20 to 30 seconds. The first practice is something called Take 5, which I want us to do together. So take out your left hand like this and hold it in front of you like you're holding a pizza pie. Then take your right pointer finger and place it in the palm of your hand right around your wrist. I'm going to hold mine up like this so you can see it. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide the pointer finger up the thumb, taking an inhale like this. And then slide back down, exhale through the mouth. Up the pointer finger, inhale. Back down, exhale. Up the middle finger, inhale. Back down. Ring. Back down. And pinky. Back down. There you go. That's Take 5. It's a really simple practice, doesn't take more than about 30 seconds, and there's something about the tactile nature of it, rubbing the finger against the skin, aligned with the breath that really seems to be settling for the parasympathetic nervous system. If you have kids, you could teach it to them as well. The next technique is more of a cognitive hack. I call it shifting your what if to what is. We're all familiar with the what if mind. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if they don't like me? What if this goes wrong? What if, what if, what if? Sometimes the what if mind can be useful, helps us prepare for the future, think about things that could potentially go wrong, and take action beforehand. But a lot of times it's just excess neurotic chatter that's not serving us in a positive way. So when you find yourself caught in the what if mind, I want you to shift that to what is here right now. For me, all right, there's a roof over my head, I feel my feet on the ground, I feel my belly breathing, I see a camera in front of me. What I do is I start to bring my attention to the direct reality of this experience. Not the story, not what could be in the future or what is in the past, but the actual reality of what's here now. And when we do that, it takes us out of some of the stress and anxiety of the story and drops us into the simplicity of this moment, which is usually less of a catastrophe than a mind is making it out to be. Shift your what ifs to what is. The next technique is just a simple mantra you can use throughout the day, potentially many times throughout the day. Again, a lot of our stress and anxiety is coming from the mind that is so caught up in the future, and sometimes in the past as well, that it just feels completely overwhelmed with the perceived demands of this moment. And so when you find yourself caught up in that, I just invite you to say, just this breath, just this moment. Just this breath, just this moment. And this is not positive thinking or neglecting the reality of your life. It's just an opportunity to reconnect to what is here right now. It's just one breath. It's just one moment. That is all you can take care of in any moment of your life, is just what's here. And coming back to the simplicity of an inhale and an exhale drops you into that truth and keeps us from catastrophizing and getting caught up in all of the different demands that may be true in the future but aren't here right now. Just this breath, just this moment. The next practice is a breathing technique that was popularized by Dr. Andrew Weil. It's called the 4-7-8 breath, and I love this technique for lowering my heart rate, deepening my sleep, and just re-grounding myself when I do start to feel overwhelmed throughout the day. What this involves is breathing in for 4 seconds, holding for 7 seconds, and exhaling for 8 seconds. Now, sometimes the exhale can be difficult to do for 8 seconds because we try to do it and it sounds like this, and then there's no air left. So one of the things we have to do with that is constrict the airways. And my simple tip for that is imagine that you're blowing hot air on a cold window. You could do it now with me. Now do that with the lips closed. It should look like this. Do you see how we constrict the airways a bit? What that does is it helps us elongate the breath, and we should be able to do that for at least 8 seconds. So I'll guide you through this. We'll breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 7, and exhale for 8. So breathing in for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. 4-7-8 breath. Again, if you struggle with sleep, do about 5 rounds of these before sleep. I track my sleep with this Oura ring, and so I can see, my heart rate changing in real time. And when I do this before bed, I get my heart rate down faster, which is important for getting into deep sleep earlier in the night. And as we all know, better sleep improves our ability to be stress resilient and anxiety resilient throughout the day. So try that one out. And if we have more time, we do 3 rounds, but I want to make sure I give you a lot of different techniques. But know that at the end of this video, you can come back to any of these techniques to review or take notes. This next technique is one that might actually seem counterintuitive. So when we have a difficult experience that arises, let's say something like fear, our impulse is to push the fear away because it's uncomfortable. Same thing with something like grief, sadness, or even physical pain. However, have you noticed how pushing against something that's uncomfortable can actually create more discomfort? Well, why is that? Well, if you add tension, pushing, to an already tense experience, it doesn't eliminate the tension, it just multiplies the tension. And so much of our suffering is coming from our resistance to experiences that are here. And so here's the seemingly counterintuitive approach. Instead of pushing the experience away, what we say to the experience is, "You're welcome here too. You're welcome here too." So as you're going throughout the day and you feel this jolt of anxiety, instead of getting caught up in, what's wrong with me? Why am I anxious again? What's wrong with my brain? It must be broken. All of that, right? None of that's going to serve us. You just say, hey, you're welcome here too. And you're saying that to the emotion, to the anxiety. And what it does is it creates a container of softness in the system. Something in you relaxes so that instead of creating extra suffering, you're creating more ease, more spaciousness. And it's one of those things that you actually just have to try to really experience for yourself. So many of my students say that's the thing that they come back to over and over and over throughout the day, just simply saying, you're welcome here too. This next technique is a short one. It's called 2 feet, 1 breath. This is one that you could do while you're standing, maybe waiting in the line at the grocery store, or while you're sitting. Very simple. What it involves is lifting up one foot and then feeling it on the ground, lifting up the other foot, feeling it on the ground, and then you take 1 breath. And if you're standing, it's not like you have to lift your whole leg up. Just lift your heel, feel it press into the earth. Lift the other heel, feel it press into the earth. I like to say right foot, left foot, and then inhale, exhale. That's called 2 feet, 1 breath. Next is a technique for working with difficult emotions that may arise that really hijack our system. It's called mental labeling. So I want you to think about something. Your awareness of your fear is not in fear. Your awareness of your pain is not in pain. Your awareness of your sadness is not sad. There's a part of you, awareness, that is not caught by these experiences. And if that's true, which it is, it means that who you are is bigger, or at the very least, separate from these experiences that often feel so debilitating. And so one of the ways that we can create that space and identify more with the awareness of the experience rather than the experience itself is by labeling it for exactly what it is. And what I like to say is, if fear arises, I just say, oh, this is fear. This is fear. If sadness arises, I'll say, this is sadness. This is sadness. And it's really simple, almost so simple that it can be overlooked. But I'll tell you, I come back to this over and over, even with thousands of meditation hours under my belt, as the thing throughout the day that really just helps me hold my internal experience in perspective. It creates a little bit more space, and it takes the experience from being here to here. This is fear. This is anxiety. This is sadness. And by labeling it for exactly what it is, it prevents the mind from going into a story about the experience, what it is, how bad it is, what's wrong with me, and all of that over-identification that can happen. So try that one out. This is sadness. This is fear. This is stress. This is anxiety. And this last tip I like to call the haiku technique. So there's this famous Japanese haiku by Matsuo Basho that says this: "The old pond a frog jumps in, plop. The old pond, a frog jumps in, plop. Now, technically, that's not a haiku when translated into English, but you get the point. Now, why do I like this haiku? Well, it's extremely simple, and that's the beauty of it. There's no tale about the heroic frog jumping off the rock and the flamingos clapping and it does this perfect 10 dive. It's just the direct experience. It's a pond, a frog jumps in, plop. So much of our stress and anxiety comes from the story about our life. Who we are, an identity we're holding on to, something we're trying to protect about ourselves, things that can go wrong, all the great stuff we're saying about ourselves that we have to now defend and make sure it lasts like that, all the negative stuff we say about ourselves that just keeps us wrapped in cycles of what's wrong with me and I'm a failure. All of that story, it's not connected to the direct reality of what's happening right now. And so the way you can use this old pond haiku technique is take your present moment and put it into the haiku. For me, it's Corey. He's sitting, speaking. Maybe if I were driving, the man sitting in the car, hands on the steering wheel. You're in a chaotic airport, person, walking, baby crying. Now, sometimes experiences are much more stressful and intense. And I'm not saying that these techniques that I've shared here or the haiku here is going to be the thing that eliminates all of that. You know, sometimes we're just in survival mode. So don't take this as the thing that's going to alleviate all of our stress. But what this often does is it simplifies the moment. It takes us out of this extra stress that the mind is compounding on the experience and breaks it down into the fundamental elements so that it's more manageable. And by putting something in the haiku, it actually brings us into the reality of this moment rather than the story that the mind creates about it. So, these are a bunch of techniques that you can try out. Think of it as a buffet. You know, you're not going to do all of them at all times throughout the day. Maybe if you feel inspired. But go back through the video if you want and find a couple that you want to use in your day. Something that feels like, oh, that resonates for me, and I think I can apply that in this situation or that situation. And it's these things that reduce our stress about 5 to 7%, sometimes a little bit more, that over time really has an impact on our well-being. So there's plenty here to get you started. But if you want to continue on the journey and you're interested in more tips like this or teachings, bite-sized teachings that you can apply to your life, I do have a free daily text message service. It just sends out messages every day at 8 a.m. Pacific time, just a little tidbit, a practice, something for you to think about that you can bring into your day, you know, something like Take 5 or shifting what if to what is. And there's over 16,000 people now who participate in it, and they describe it as, surprisingly, one of the best parts of their day because it sets a tone for their day. It helps them orient to what is most meaningful, drops them back into the present, and gives them tools to work with the inevitable stressors that arise. So if you're interested in signing up for that, again, it's completely free, no strings attached, there's no hidden fees there. You just text the word stress to this number, 1-631-305-2874. Say it one more time. You text stress to 1-631-305-2874. And then you'll be put on a list, and you'll get them Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Pacific time. You can unsubscribe at any time. I won't see if you unsubscribe, so it won't hurt my feelings. And it can be a way just to continue the momentum of learning these tools and getting involved in this work. So, as I like to say to all of my students, thank you for your practice. The work you're doing for yourself in this way is not just for you. It's for the people you care about, your family, your friends, your workplace, your community, and our world at large. When you take care of yourself, when you fill up your cup, you have much more to give. For that reason, I say again, thank you for your practice. Talk to you soon. Lots of love, and take care.